Hi, I'm Dr. Melita Ash. I'm a clinical psychologist and I help parents understand what makes sense about their autistic teenagers' struggles so they can feel more confident about what to do next. If you've clicked on this video, there's a good chance your teenager isn't the child they used to be. Maybe they used to enjoy school and now they won't go. Maybe they spend most of their time shut away in their room. Maybe they seem constantly anxious, exhausted, or overwhelmed. Perhaps they get angry over things that never used to bother them, or maybe you just have this feeling that somewhere along the way you've lost your child. One of the things parents say to me most often is, I don't understand what's happened. They were doing okay and then everything changed. Or they were struggling, but things have got so much harder as they've hit the teenage years. And almost always that leads to another question: what's wrong with them? And this is completely understandable, but today I want to suggest a different one because I think it's one of the most important shifts parents can make. So instead of asking, what's wrong with my teenager? I wonder what happens if we ask, what makes sense about their struggle? When we're frightened for someone we love, our brains naturally search for answers. We want certainty. We want something we can point to. Maybe it's hormones, maybe it's anxiety, maybe it's autism, maybe it's secondary school, maybe it's social media, maybe it's friendships, maybe it's burnout, maybe it's trauma. We look for one explanation because if we can identify the cause, surely we'll know how to fix it. And as parents, that's all we want. But teenagers are rarely that simple, especially autistic teenagers, because human beings don't work like machines. When a warning light comes on in your car, there's usually one fault. When a teenager starts struggling, there are often many things happening at the same time. So one of the things I love most about psychology is that it teaches you to stay curious. People often imagine psychologists spending their time diagnosing people, but actually, we spend much more time trying to understand people. We're constantly asking ourselves, what has this young person experienced? What are they finding difficult? What strengths do they have? What demands are they facing? What has changed? What might their behaviour be communicating? And before we ever think about strategies, we try to understand the story, because behaviour doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in context. So imagine two autistic teenagers. Both have stopped going to school, both are anxious, both spend most of their evenings in their bedrooms. From the outside, they look almost identical. But let's look a little bit closer. One of these teenagers is overwhelmed by sensory demands. The classroom feels painfully noisy. The corridors are unpredictable. Their nervous system is overloaded before lessons have even begun. The second teenager experiences school very differently. Their biggest fear isn't the noise, it's friendships. It's trying to work out what people mean, whether someone was joking, where they belong, whether they've said the wrong thing again. So the same things that you can see, but very different experiences underneath. And because the reasons are different, the support they need will probably be different too. And they are two very simple examples. Usually there's lots of things at play. So this is why generic advice so often leaves parents feeling frustrated. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because the advice only works when it fits what's actually driving your teenager's difficulties. So this is why I often think of things as being like a jigsaw puzzle. If someone handed you one puzzle piece, you couldn't possibly know what the finished picture would look like. Yet that's often what happens. We notice the anxiety and we assume that's the whole picture, or their autistic needs, or the school avoidance, or their anger, or whatever it is that you see. But they're only pieces. The whole picture also includes things like their nature, their sensory experiences, the changes adolescence brings, executive functioning, relationships, identity, previous experiences, school experiences, family, strengths, which is really important. And when we begin bringing those pieces together, something remarkable happens. The behaviour starts to make sense because we finally understand it.